This story is Hard-Head Bird by Brenda. By Brenda Lee Conyers. Nicholstown, Andrews, in 1978, was a closely knit community. One half of the population was related to the other, and the business of one person was everybody's business. That summer, I had recently turned 8. It was a local custom in Nicholstown for the younger children to go to the fields with grown-ups and older children during the summer vacation. I had to go to the fields with my grandfather and cousins. I was not needed to help harvest the crop. Instead, my grandfather gave me responsibility for attending to my 2 younger cousins. The fields were located 8 miles out of the settlement. They were cut up into sectors. This enabled the farmers to communicate among themselves. At lunchtime, everyone gathered on a plot of land set aside for having lunch. During this time, rest period people socialized. They ate and gossiped about the latest news. There was a farmer whose name was Gus. Maybe a relative problem. His field was located to the left of my grandfather's field. Everyone standing in our field could easily see everything that happened in Gus's field. So could the other adjacent farmers. This was so because of the closeness of these plots to each other. Gus had been obsessed with love for his wife, Martha, when she was alive. Most of the men in the town laughed at Gus because of this obsession. Martha died giving birth to the couple's last daughter. Gus named the daughter Martha after her mother. When Gus's wife died, the obsession he left passed on to his daughter. Young Martha grew up very rude, selfish, and vain because of Gus's attention. He thought Martha could do no wrong. She was spoiled since her father never disciplined her. He allowed her to have her own way in any matter. Almost every child over 9 years old worked in the fields, all except the invalid and Martha. Martha disliked working. Gus had 15 children. He needed Martha's help, but he did not force her to work. One particular day, as all the farmers went to the field earlier than usual, they had to pick peas as soon as possible. Otherwise, the sun would scorch the peas. That day, I left my cousins with my great-grandmother. Grandfather needed me to help pick peas. Although everyone was extremely busy, Martha, as usual, sat in a cool spot beneath 2 pine trees. At one point, I heard her laugh hysterically. From where I stood, I could see her, but I could not see with whom or at what she was laughing. Soon her father called from the far end of the field to ask what was the joke. She told him that an ugly bird kept flying around the pine trees. She was laughing at this bird. Everyone heard what Martha said. We all looked up to see the bird, but none of us saw it. But by lunchtime, we were talking about the way Martha had acted. My grand-aunt told everyone that she thought the spirit of Martha's mother had come to the girl. Martha, being the kind of person she was, had laughed. However, one woman went to Gus. She told him that Chicanis were half men and half birds. If a person saw them and laughed, they would punish that person. The woman also pointed out something else. Chicanis built their nests where branches of 2 pine trees joined at the top. Martha had sat under 2 such trees. After Gus heard these things, he went to Martha. He forbade her to go near the trees. because she knew her father would not punish her if she disobeyed him. Martha still went to sit below the trees. Towards the ending of the day, we packed our farming tools and were about to leave the field to go home, when all of a sudden we heard a scream coming from Gus's farm. The older people told us to wait where we were and went to investigate. Later, my grandfather told us what they found out. Martha had screamed. She said that when they found her beneath the pine tree, one of her knees was twisted away from her leg. There was a puncture in the middle of that knee. The puncture was full of straw. The old people took Martha to the clinic. The nurse called for an emergency flight from Nassau and sent Martha on it to the Princess Margaret Hospital. To this day, Martha walks with a limp. When people ask her what happened that day in the field, she always says that she does not know. The old folks still believe that as a result of her rudeness and disrespect to her father and the Killarney, Martha was punished. Hard-haired birds don't make good soup.